A mother's love for her son is tested when she begins experiencing mysterious illnesses after meals with her daughter-in-law. As symptoms worsen and tensions rise, she must confront the devastating possibility that these aren't mere coincidences. What starts as simple family dinners evolves into a chilling tale of betrayal that will test the bonds between mother, son, and wife. But before that, comment where you are watching from today, and like and subscribe for more stories like this. Marie Williams stood before her bedroom mirror, adjusting her favorite pearl necklace, a gift from her late husband. At 62, she carried herself with the grace of someone who'd weathered life's storms and emerged stronger. Her dark skin had aged beautifully, marked with laugh lines that told stories of happier times. Today was special, another visit to her only son Jordan's house. "Lord, please let today be different," she whispered, tucking a stray silver curl behind her ear. The last few visits had left her feeling strange, but she pushed those thoughts aside. Today was about family. The drive to the suburbs took 30 minutes, each mile bringing both excitement and an inexplicable unease. Jordan and his wife Lisa had moved to this predominantly white neighborhood 3 years ago, shortly after their wedding. The pristine lawns and identical houses still felt foreign to Marie, so different from the vibrant community where she'd raised Jordan. As she pulled into their driveway, her grandchildren's faces appeared at the window. 5-year-old Marcus and 3-year-old Lily, their beautiful brown faces pressed against the glass. The sight melted away her anxiety. "Grandma! Grandma!" They burst through the front door, nearly knocking her over with their enthusiastic hugs. "My babies!" Marie laughed, kneeling to embrace them properly. "Oh, look how you've grown." Jordan appeared in the doorway, his broad smile matching his father's. "Mom, you're early." He wrapped her in a warm hug that reminded her of when he was little. "Early? Baby, I'm right on time. You know your mama doesn't run on CP time." She patted his cheek affectionately. Lisa emerged from behind Jordan, her blonde hair perfectly styled, wearing a crisp white apron over her designer clothes. "Marie, so nice to see you." Her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. "I'm just finishing up dinner. I made your favorite, my special jambalaya." Marie's stomach tightened slightly at the mention of food, but she forced a smile. "That sounds lovely, dear." Inside, the house smelled of spices and something Marie couldn't quite identify. The children dragged her to their playroom, eager to show off their latest artwork while Jordan and Lisa returned to the kitchen. "Look, Grandma, I drew our family." Marcus held up a crayon drawing. Marie's heart warmed seeing how he'd drawn her larger than life, standing next to Jordan. "It's beautiful, baby. You're quite the artist." She studied the drawing, noticing how Lisa was drawn smaller, almost in the corner. Children's artwork often revealed more than adults realized. "Dinner's ready." Lisa's voice carried from the dining room. The table was set perfectly, too perfectly, Marie thought, like a magazine spread rather than a family dinner. Lisa served everyone with theatrical flourish, paying special attention to Marie's portion. "I added extra spices to yours, Marie. I know how much you love it spicy," Lisa said, her voice syrupy sweet. Marie took her first bite, aware of Lisa watching her intently. The flavors were intense, almost overwhelming. Something about it tasted off. "How is it?" Lisa asked, leaning forward slightly. "It's different," Marie managed, taking a sip of water. "You've certainly made it your own." The conversation flowed around her as they ate. Jordan talked about his promotion at the law firm, the kids chatted about school, and Lisa dominated the conversation with stories about her social circle. Marie contributed when appropriate, but as the meal progressed, she felt increasingly unwell. It started with a slight queasiness, then progressed to a burning sensation in her stomach. By dessert, Lisa's special peach cobbler, Marie's head was spinning. "Mom, are you okay? You look pale," Jordan noticed, reaching for her hand. "I'm fine, baby. Just tired, I suppose. Maybe it's my age catching up with me." She forced a weak smile. Lisa rushed to her side. "Oh, Marie, you poor thing. Could it be food poisoning? Though that's impossible. I'm always so careful with my cooking." Her concern seemed theatrical, practiced. No, I'm sure it's nothing," Marie insisted, though her stomach churned violently. "Maybe I should head home early today." "But Grandma, you promised to read us a story." Lily's lower lip trembled. Marie's heart ached. Next time, sweet pea. Grandma needs to rest. Jordan insisted on walking her to her car. Mom, this isn't the first time you felt sick after visiting. Maybe you should see Dr. Thompson. Baby, I'm fine. Just a sensitive stomach these days. She patted his cheek, not wanting to worry him. As she drove home, Marie's mind raced. This was the third time she'd felt ill after eating at Jordan's. The first time, she dismissed it as a coincidence. The second time, she blamed it on eating too much. But now, that night, hunched over her toilet, Marie's suspicions grew. The symptoms were too consistent, too specific to her visits. But surely Lisa wouldn't. No, she couldn't let herself think that way. Lisa was family now, even if things had been tense since she and Jordan married. The next morning, Marie sat at her kitchen table, sipping ginger tea to settle her stomach. Her phone buzzed with a text from Lisa. Hope you're feeling better, Marie. I found some natural remedies that might help with your digestive issues. Should I drop them off? Marie stared at the message, noting the forced cheerfulness in those emoji-laden words. She thought back to dinner, remembering how Lisa had hovered while she ate, how she'd insisted on serving Marie herself rather than letting her take her own portion. Thank you, dear, but I'm feeling much better now, she replied diplomatically. Another buzz, if you're sure. The kids miss you already. When are you coming back? I'm planning to try a new recipe. Marie's stomach clenched at the thought. She closed her eyes, remembering how she'd raised Jordan to see the best in people, to judge them by their character, not their color. When he'd fallen in love with Lisa, Marie had welcomed her with open arms, despite the whispers in their community. She'd defended their relationship to friends who questioned it, hosted their engagement party, helped plan their wedding. But now, the following Sunday, Marie found herself back at their house, unable to refuse Jordan's invitation to Sunday dinner. This time, she watched Lisa more carefully in the kitchen, noting how she prepared the meals separately, how she kept glancing at Marie while cooking. Can I help, dear? Marie offered, entering the kitchen. Lisa startled, nearly dropping a spice jar. Oh, no, I've got it all under control. Why don't you go play with the kids? But Marie lingered, observing how Lisa added extra seasonings to one particular plate, the one that would later be served to her. During dinner, Marie noticed other things too. How Lisa's hand trembled slightly when serving her, how her smile tightened when Marie took each bite, how she deflected questions about the recipes. This tastes different from last time, Marie commented carefully. Oh, I'm always experimenting. Lisa laughed, a high, nervous sound. You know how it is, trying to perfect those traditional recipes. Though I'm sure I'll never make it quite like you do. The compliment carried a hint of mockery that only Marie seemed to notice. Jordan was absorbed in his phone, the kids in their food. That night, as the familiar nausea set in, Marie sat in her bathroom, torn between her growing suspicions and her desire to maintain family peace. She thought of Jordan, of how happy he seemed with Lisa, of how the kids adored their mother. Was she imagining things? Was she letting old prejudices cloud her judgment? But then she remembered Lisa's strange behavior in the kitchen, the particular attention paid to her portions, the way symptoms only appeared after eating Lisa's cooking. The pattern was becoming impossible to ignore. Her phone buzzed again. Another text from Lisa. Marie, I'm so worried about these recurring issues you're having. I found this wonderful holistic doctor who might be able to help. Should I make you an appointment? Marie stared at the message, her hands shaking slightly. The forced concern, the eager helpfulness, it all felt wrong, like a predator playing with its prey. Lord, give me strength, she whispered, closing her eyes. She couldn't accuse her daughter-in-law without proof. Couldn't risk destroying her son's marriage, her grandchildren's home, over what might be nothing more than an old woman's paranoia. But as she lay in bed that night, unable to sleep through the stomach cramps, Marie knew something had to change. She thought of her late husband, wondering what he would advise. He'd always told her to trust her instincts. They'd never led her wrong before. As she drifted off to fitful sleep, Marie's last thought was of Jordan's happy face at dinner, completely unaware of the darkness lurking beneath his perfect family picture. How could she protect her son without destroying his world? The answer would come soon enough, but not before things got much, much worse. The fluorescent lights of Dr. Thompson's office cast harsh shadows across Marie's face as she sat on the examination table, her hands clutching her purse tightly. The paper crinkled beneath her as she shifted uncomfortably, waiting for her longtime physician to return with the test results. Dr. Thompson, a gentle-mannered woman in her 50s who'd been Marie's doctor for over 2 decades, entered with a puzzled expression. "Well, Marie, I've looked over everything, and honestly, I'm a bit stumped." "What do you mean, Karen?" Marie leaned forward, anxiety creeping into her voice. "Your blood work is normal. Liver function, kidney function, everything looks fine. No signs of infection or inflammation." Dr. Thompson sat on a rolling stool, reviewing the charts. "You said these symptoms only occur occasionally?" Marie nodded. "Yes, but they're getting worse each time. The nausea, dizziness. Last time I could barely drive home. And you can't identify any pattern? Certain foods, activities?" Marie's throat tightened. She could identify the pattern perfectly. Every episode followed a meal at Jordan and Lisa's house. But how could she explain that without sounding paranoid? It might be related to specific meals," she said carefully. Dr. Thompson made some notes. "Could be a developing food allergy. That's not uncommon at your age. Or," she hesitated, "it could be stress-related. How are things at home? With the family?" Marie forced a smile. "Everything's fine. Jordan's doing well at work. The grandkids are growing so fast. And your daughter-in-law? Lisa, right? How are things with her?" The question hung in the air for a moment. "We're adjusting to each other," Marie finally answered. Dr. Thompson nodded thoughtfully. "Mixed families can be challenging. The stress could be manifesting physically. I'd like you to keep a detailed food diary for the next few weeks. Note everything you eat and any symptoms that follow." On the drive home, Marie's anxiety grew. No medical explanation meant either she was imagining things or something more sinister was at play. Her phone buzzed with a text from Jordan. "Mom, coming over for dinner tomorrow? Lisa's making her special gumbo." Marie's stomach churned just reading the message. But she couldn't avoid these dinners forever without raising suspicions. "Of course, baby. Looking forward to it," she replied, already dreading what was to come. The next evening, Marie found herself once again at Jordan and Lisa's dinner table. Lisa had outdone herself, presenting a spread that looked like it belonged in a cooking magazine. "I made it extra special tonight," Lisa announced, serving Marie a heaping portion of gumbo. "Added my secret blend of spices just for you, Marie." Marie noticed how Lisa's eyes followed her spoon as she took the first bite. The flavor was overwhelming, far spicier than traditional gumbo should be. Within minutes, her mouth was burning, and her stomach began to churn. "Mom?" Jordan's voice seemed distant. "Mom, are you okay? You're sweating." The room started spinning. Marie gripped the table edge, her heart racing so fast she could hear it pounding in her ears. I don't feel..." "Oh my goodness, Marie." Lisa's voice carried fake concern. "Maybe you're allergic to shellfish? I should have asked." "No." Marie tried to stand, but her legs wouldn't cooperate. "Jordan, I need... Mom." Jordan jumped up as Marie slumped in her chair. "Lisa, call 911. "No." Marie managed, fighting through the dizziness. "No ambulance. Just need to lie down." Jordan helped her to the guest room, his face etched with worry. "Mom, this isn't normal. Something's seriously wrong." "I'll be fine, baby," she assured him, though her heart was still racing. "Just need to rest. Maybe you should avoid spicy food for a while," Jordan suggested, sitting on the edge of the bed. "Or seafood. We can try different meals next time." Marie nodded weakly, knowing it wasn't the type of food that was the problem. As if reading her thoughts, Lisa appeared in the doorway, wringing her hands in apparent concern. "I feel terrible about this," she said. "Let me make you some tea to settle your stomach." "No," Marie said too quickly, then softened her tone. "No, thank you, dear. Just water." Later that night, safe in her own home, Marie started a new notebook. At the top of the first page, she wrote, "Symptoms log." Under it, she detailed everything about the evening's meal, the dishes served, the timing of her symptoms, the intensity. Over the next few weeks, she added more entries. The pattern was undeniable. Sunday dinner, spicy gumbo, severe nausea, dizziness, racing heart. Thursday lunch, special sandwich, stomach cramps, headache. Saturday brunch, French toast, Lisa insisted on serving my portion. Mild nausea, confusion. The symptoms were worst with spicy dishes, where extra seasonings could easily mask other additions. Marie's suspicion solidified with each entry, but she still needed proof. During one particularly memorable dinner, Lisa served a Cajun pasta dish that she claimed was inspired by Marie's heritage. The irony wasn't lost on Marie, a white woman attempting to serve her a version of her own cultural cuisine. "It's my take on your recipe," Lisa said sweetly, placing a large portion before Marie. "I hope I did it justice." The first bite sent warning signals through Marie's body. The familiar burning sensation, different from normal spices, spread across her tongue. She watched Lisa from the corner of her eye, noting how her daughter-in-law's expression shifted from anticipation to satisfaction as Marie's symptoms began to appear. "How is it, Mom?" Jordan asked, oblivious to the undercurrent of tension. "It's..." Marie's voice faltered as the room began to spin. "It's very..." "Marie?" Lisa's voice held that same artificial concern. "You don't look well. Again. Perhaps you should see another doctor?" "This keeps happening." The emphasis on "keeps happening" sent a chill down Marie's spine. Lisa's face showed no genuine worry, just a calculated observation of Marie's distress. "I think I need some air," Marie managed, stumbling to her feet. Jordan rushed to help her to the back porch, while Lisa remained seated, sipping her wine with an almost imperceptible smile. "Mom, I'm really worried," Jordan said once they were alone. "This can't keep happening. Maybe we need to get you allergy tested." Marie patted his hand, fighting through the dizziness. "Baby, I'm starting to think it's not allergies." "What do you mean?" Before she could respond, Lisa appeared with a glass of water. "Here, Marie. This might help." Marie stared at the glass, but didn't take it. "No, thank you, dear. I'm fine." Something flickered in Lisa's eyes. Annoyance? Frustration? Before her concerned mask slipped back into place. "Well, if you're sure." "Jordan, honey, the kids need help with their homework." Once alone, Marie pulled out her phone and added another entry to her symptoms log, her fingers trembling slightly. "Cajun pasta. Immediate reaction. Suspects tampering." The next family dinner, Marie came prepared with a strategy. As Lisa served her usual oversized portion, Marie engaged in animated conversation with the children, taking only tiny bites and mostly pushing the food around her plate. "You've hardly touched your food, Marie," Lisa observed, her tone sharp despite her smile. "Oh, I had a late lunch," Marie lied, watching Lisa's reaction carefully. "Everything looks delicious, though. But you must try the sauce," Lisa insisted. "I made it specially for you." Marie pretended not to hear, continuing her conversation with Marcus about his school project. She noticed Lisa's knuckles whitening around her fork, the slight twitch in her jaw. By the end of the meal, Marie had eaten less than a quarter of her portion. For the first time in months, she drove home without feeling ill. The revelation both confirmed her worst fears and filled her with a new determination. That night, Marie sat at her kitchen table, surrounded by her symptom logs and a photo of Jordan and the kids. Her son's smiling face brought tears to her eyes. How could she tell him what she suspected? How could she not? Her phone buzzed with a text from Lisa. "So sorry you didn't enjoy dinner tonight, Marie. I'll have to try harder next time to make something you'll actually eat." The passive-aggressive tone was clear. Marie's hands shook as she set the phone down. She was now certain that Lisa was deliberately poisoning her meals, but proving it would be another matter entirely. The next step would require courage and careful planning. Looking at her grandson's crayon drawing still hanging on her fridge, the one where Lisa was drawn tiny in the corner, Marie made her decision. She couldn't let this continue. For her sake, for Jordan's sake, and especially for her grandchildren's sake, she had to find a way to expose the truth. Opening her notebook to a fresh page, Marie began to write out her plan. The next family dinner would be different, very different. And this time, she would be ready. Marie stood in her kitchen early Sunday morning, carefully packing her signature sweet potato casserole into a decorative serving dish. The familiar motions of cooking had always brought her comfort, but today they carried extra weight. Each ingredient she'd measured, each step she'd taken, had been part of a carefully orchestrated plan. "Lord, give me strength," she whispered, adding the finishing touches to the dish. She'd spent the previous night rehearsing her excuse. Her doctor had recommended a special diet to help with her mysterious symptoms. It wasn't entirely a lie. Dr. Thompson had suggested food tracking. Her phone buzzed with a text from Jordan. "Mom, you don't need to bring anything. Lisa's been cooking all morning." Marie's hands trembled slightly as she typed back, "Just a little something, baby." Doctor's orders, trying to figure out what's causing these spells. She checked her purse one last time, her symptom diary, a small notebook for new observations, and her phone with the camera ready to document anything suspicious. The stakes were too high for mistakes. The drive to Jordan's house felt longer than usual. The covered dish on her passenger seat seemed to mock her with its significance. This wasn't just dinner. It was a test, one she prayed she was wrong about. Lisa opened the door before Marie could ring the bell, her perfect smile faltering for just a moment at the sight of the covered dish. "Marie, what's this? You didn't have to bring anything. I've prepared everything already." "Oh, just a little something," Marie said lightly, stepping past her. "Doctor suggested I try tracking what I eat, with all these strange symptoms lately." Lisa's smile tightened, almost imperceptibly. "But I made all your favorites. Surely one night won't hurt your diet." "Grandma." Marcus and Lily came running, breaking the tension. "What did you bring? Is it your sweet potato casserole?" "The very same." Marie smiled, holding the dish away from Lisa's reaching hands. "Let me just put this in the kitchen." The kitchen counter was crowded with Lisa's elaborate spread, all of Marie's supposed favorites, each one likely laced with whatever had been making her ill. The sight made her stomach turn. "Here, let me serve everyone," Lisa offered, reaching for Marie's casserole dish. "No need, dear." Marie's voice was honey-sweet but firm. "I'll handle my portion." Doctor's orders. Need to measure everything carefully. Throughout dinner, Marie noticed Lisa's mounting agitation. Each time Marie declined one of Lisa's dishes, a tiny muscle twitched in Lisa's jaw. Her daughter-in-law's usual practice smile grew, increasingly strained. "Mom, you haven't tried Lisa's jambalaya," Jordan noted halfway through the meal. "She made it especially for you." "Oh, I wish I could, baby, but I'm trying to be strict with this elimination diet." Dr. Thompson thinks it might help identify what's causing these episodes. Marie patted her son's hand while taking another bite of her own casserole. Lisa's fork clattered against her plate. "It seems rather rude to bring your own food when I've spent all day cooking," she said, her voice tight. "Lisa!" Jordan looked shocked. No, she's right," Marie said smoothly. "I should have called ahead. I just got so worried after that last spell. You remember, Lisa? When I could barely stand?" Lisa's face flushed. "That was probably just food poisoning, though I'm always so careful with my cooking." The emphasis on the word careful sent chills down Marie's spine. "Speaking of which," Marie continued, watching Lisa closely, "I noticed you're not eating the jambalaya either, Lisa. Not feeling well?" For a split second, something dark flashed across Lisa's face before she composed herself. "Oh, I had a big lunch while cooking. You know how it is, tasting everything." Marie noted how Lisa had served herself from a different pot than the one she'd used for Marie's portion. Another piece of the puzzle clicked into place. As the evening progressed, Marie felt clear-headed and strong. No dizziness, no nausea, no racing heart. The contrast with her previous visits was stark. She caught Lisa watching her several times, her daughter-in-law's expression growing colder when she thought no one was looking. In the kitchen, while helping to clear dishes, Marie overheard Lisa on the phone. "No, she didn't eat any of it. Brought her own food." "I know. We'll have to try something else." Marie quickly stepped back into the dining room, her heart pounding. She needed to document everything while it was fresh in her mind. "Excuse me," she said, heading to the bathroom with her purse. Inside, she quickly wrote in her notebook, "Sunday dinner. Brought own food. Lisa agitated when I declined her cooking. Serving from separate pots. Phone conversation about trying something else. No symptoms." When she returned, Lisa was serving dessert, a beautiful chocolate cake that made the children squeal with delight. "Just one small piece, Marie." Lisa held out a plate, her smile not reaching her eyes. "For old time's sake?" "No thank you, dear. Trying to avoid sugar too." Marie watched as something like fury flickered across Lisa's face. Jordan noticed the tension. "Mom, is everything okay?" You've never turned down chocolate cake before. Just following doctor's orders, baby. Better safe than sorry. Marie squeezed his hand reassuringly. Later, as Marie prepared to leave, she felt stronger than she had in months. No symptoms, no weakness, just clarity and a growing certainty about what she had to do next. Let me pack you some leftovers, Lisa insisted. One last attempt. Oh no, I couldn't. My diet, you know. Marie hugged her grandchildren goodbye, watching Lisa's hands clench and unclench at her sides. In her rearview mirror, Marie saw Lisa standing in the doorway, her usual facade cracked to reveal something cold and calculating beneath. Jordan stood beside her, oblivious, waving goodbye to his mother. At home, Marie sat at her kitchen table, surrounded by her notes and observations. The evidence was circumstantial but compelling. Lisa's insistence on serving her, the separate cooking pots, the phone conversation, the dramatic change in symptoms when she avoided Lisa's food. Her phone buzzed with a text from Lisa. Marie, I hope you're not avoiding my cooking because you think there's something wrong with it. That would be a terrible accusation to make. The thinly veiled threat made Marie's blood run cold. This wasn't just about making her ill anymore. This was a power play, a calculated attempt to drive her away from her son and grandchildren. Marie thought about Jordan, about how devastated he would be when he learned the truth. But she couldn't protect him by staying silent. Whatever Lisa was putting in her food could eventually cause serious harm, or worse. Opening her symptom diary, Marie began a new entry, plan for next steps. She had to be smart about this, had to find a way to expose Lisa without destroying her family in the process. But first, she needed concrete proof. Looking at the family photo on her wall, taken at Jordan and Lisa's wedding, before all this began, Marie felt tears welling up in her eyes. How had they gotten here? What had driven Lisa to such calculated cruelty? Another text buzzed through. The children missed having you try my cooking today. Maybe next time you'll feel more comfortable eating what I prepare. Families should trust each other, don't you think? Marie's hands shook as she set down her phone. The message was clear. This wasn't over. If anything, by refusing Lisa's food, she'd escalated the situation. But at least now she knew for certain. Her daughter-in-law was deliberately poisoning her, and she had to find a way to prove it before things got worse. Running her fingers over the lace tablecloth, Marie began to formulate her next move. She couldn't continue playing defense. It was time to confront Lisa directly. The thought terrified her, but she had to protect her family, even if it meant facing an uncomfortable truth. Watch over us all, she prayed softly, looking at her grandchildren's smiling faces in the family photo. Whatever came next would change their lives forever, but silence was no longer an option. The truth had to come out, no matter how painful it might be. The morning sun cast long shadows across Marie's kitchen as she dialed Lisa's number. Her symptom diary lay open before her, pages of meticulous notes documenting months of suspicious incidents. After a sleepless night spent praying for guidance, she knew it was time. Hello. Lisa's voice was cheerful, practiced. Lisa, dear, I was hoping we could talk. Just the two of us. Marie kept her tone light. Maybe coffee at my house? While Jordan's at work and the kids are at school? A pause. Is everything all right, Marie? Oh yes, just some family matters I'd like to discuss. Around 11? Another pause. Of course. I'll bring some of my homemade muffins. No need, Marie said firmly. I'll provide refreshments. At exactly 11, Lisa's luxury SUV pulled into Marie's driveway. Through the kitchen window, Marie watched her daughter-in-law check her reflection in the car mirror, adjusting her perfectly styled blonde hair. The gesture reminded Marie of actors preparing to go on stage. Marie opened the door before Lisa could ring the bell. Come in, dear. Lisa's eyes darted around the living room as she entered, taking in the family photos on the walls, most featuring Jordan and the kids, several from before she'd entered their lives. Such lovely old pictures, she said, her smile tight. Please sit. Marie gestured to the dining room table, where she'd set out 2 cups of coffee and a plate of store-bought cookies. Sugar and cream are on the table. Lisa perched on the edge of her chair, her designer purse clutched in her lap like a shield. What's this about, Marie? Is everything okay? Marie sat across from her, placing her symptom diary on the table. No, Lisa. Everything is not okay. She opened the notebook. We need to talk about what you've been doing to my food. Lisa's laugh was immediate but hollow. Excuse me? What are you talking about? I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. Marie's voice remained calm. For months now, I've been getting sick after eating your cooking. Only your cooking? That's ridiculous. Lisa's voice rose slightly. Are you actually accusing me of what? Poisoning you? That's insane. Is it? Marie began turning pages in her diary. February 15th. Severe nausea and dizziness after your special gumbo. March 3rd. Racing heart and confusion after eating your casserole. March 24th. Could barely drive home after your spicy pasta. She looked up. Should I continue? This is absurd. Lisa stood up. You're obviously having some kind of episode. Maybe we should call Jordan. Sit down, Lisa. Marie's tone made it clear this wasn't a request. We're not finished. Something in Marie's expression must have worried Lisa, because she slowly sank back into her chair. Last Sunday, Marie continued, I brought my own food. Didn't eat a single bite of your cooking. For the first time in months, I felt fine. No symptoms at all. Interesting coincidence, don't you think? Lisa's confident facade began to crack. You're being paranoid. This is crazy. I heard you on the phone that night. Who were you talking to about trying something else since I wouldn't eat your food? Color drained from Lisa's face. You were spying on me? I was protecting myself. Marie leaned forward. Now, do you want to tell me the truth? Or should I take these notes and my symptoms to the police? The mention of police broke something in Lisa. Her perfectly composed expression crumbled, replaced by something cold and hard. You wouldn't dare. Try me? Lisa's laugh was bitter this time. Fine. You want the truth? Yes. I've been adding things to your food. Nothing lethal. Just enough to make you sick, to make you think twice about coming around so often. Despite having suspected it for months, hearing the confession stunned Marie. Why? She whispered. I welcomed you into our family. I defended you to everyone who questioned Jordan marrying a white woman. I loved you like a daughter. Love me like a daughter. Lisa's voice dripped with contempt. You've been trying to control Jordan since the day we met. Always calling, always visiting, always reminding him of his responsibilities to family. He's my only child. He's my husband. Lisa slammed her hand on the table, making the coffee cups rattle. But you couldn't let go, could you? Had to keep your perfect little boy tied to your apron strings. Every decision we make, every choice about the kids, there's always your opinion, your way of doing things. Marie stared at her daughter-in-law, truly seeing her for the first time. So you decided to poison me? To risk my health because you were jealous? Risk your health? Lisa scoffed. Please. It was just enough to make you uncomfortable, to make you think twice about coming around so often. I needed you to back off, to let us live our lives without your constant interference. And you thought making me sick was the answer? Marie's voice shook with disbelief. It was working, wasn't it? You started visiting less. Started making excuses not to come to dinner. A small, satisfied smile played across Lisa's lips. Until you got suspicious and ruined everything with your little food stunt last Sunday. Marie felt sick for a different reason now. Do you hear yourself? You're talking about deliberately harming your children's grandmother. The woman who helped plan your wedding, who babysits whenever you need it, who's never been anything but supportive. Supportive? Lisa laughed harshly. You mean controlling. Always there, always watching, judging my parenting, my housekeeping, my cooking. The perfect mother-in-law who can do no wrong. Do you know what that's like? Living in the shadow of Saint Marie. This isn't about me, Marie said quietly. This is about you being so insecure in your marriage that you'd resort to poisoning family. Lisa's face hardened. You don't know anything about my marriage. I know my son would be horrified if he knew what you've done. But he's not going to know, is he? Lisa's voice turned silky. Because if you tell him, you'll destroy this family. Break his heart. Traumatize the children. Is that what you want, Marie? To tear apart your precious family. Marie felt tears welling up in her eyes. How can you be so cold about this? Don't you feel any remorse? Remorse? Lisa stood, gathering her purse. I did what I had to do to protect my marriage, my family. If anything, you should be thanking me for not using something stronger. The casual threat sent chills down Marie's spine. Listen to me carefully, Lisa. This stops now. No more tampering with my food. No more passive-aggressive games. If I suspect for 1 second that you're still trying to harm me, I will go straight to Jordan with everything. My symptom diary, your confession, all of it. Lisa's smile was razor-sharp. And who do you think he'll believe? His devoted wife, or his aging mother, who's been acting increasingly paranoid? Would you like to find out? Marie held up her phone. I recorded our entire conversation. Lisa's smile vanished. You're bluffing. Try me. Marie's voice was steel. I may love my son too much to hurt him unnecessarily, but if you force my hand, I will do whatever it takes to protect this family, including from you. They stared at each other across the table, years of tension crystallizing into this moment. Finally, Lisa spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. What do you want? I want you to get help. Professional help. Whatever is driving this behavior needs to be addressed before it escalates further. Marie's tone softened slightly. I don't want to destroy this family, Lisa. I want to help fix it. Lisa's laugh was hollow. Fix it? You're the problem, Marie. You always have been. No, Lisa. The problem is that you see me as competition instead of family. That needs to change for everyone's sake. Or what? You'll play that recording for Jordan? Lisa's voice dripped with contempt. I don't want to, but I will if I have to. Marie stood up. Ball's in your court, Lisa. Get help? Or I'll have no choice but to tell Jordan everything. Lisa gathered her purse, her movements precise and controlled. At the door, she paused. You know this changes everything, right? Yes, Marie said quietly. But maybe that's what this family needs. After Lisa left, Marie sat alone at her kitchen table, listening to the ticking of the clock that had hung there since Jordan was a child. The coffee cups still sat untouched, the store-bought cookies uneaten. She picked up her phone, finger hovering over Jordan's number. A text from Lisa appeared. You've made a serious mistake, Marie. We'll see who Jordan believes. Marie closed her eyes, feeling the weight of what was to come. She'd hoped confronting Lisa might lead to understanding, to change. Instead, she'd revealed something far more dangerous. A woman who felt no remorse for her actions, who saw nothing wrong with poisoning family over imagined slights. Opening her eyes, Marie began a new entry in her diary. Confrontation with Lisa, April 15th. She had to document everything while it was fresh in her mind. Whatever came next, she needed to be prepared. Her phone buzzed again. Jordan this time. Mom, you okay? Lisa just called saying she's worried about you acting strange at your coffee meeting. Marie's hand trembled as she set down her phone. Lisa was already spinning her narrative, trying to discredit her. But Marie had something Lisa didn't prove. The question now was whether she'd have to use it. Looking at the family photo on her wall, Jordan, Lisa, the kids, all smiling at last year's Christmas. Marie felt her heart breaking for what was to come. She tried to handle this quietly, to protect her family from the ugly truth. But Lisa's reaction had made one thing clear. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Marie sat in her living room, clutching the recording device and her symptom diary as she waited for Jordan to arrive. After Lisa's threatening text messages and attempts to discredit her, she knew she couldn't wait any longer. The truth had to come out today. The sound of Jordan's car pulling into the driveway made her heart race. She'd asked him to come alone, saying they needed to discuss something important. Through the window, she watched her son check his phone, probably another message from Lisa, before walking to the door. Mom? Jordan called as he entered. What's going on? Lisa's been saying some strange things about your behavior lately. Marie patted the seat beside her on the couch. Sit down, baby. We need to talk about Lisa. Jordan's face tightened with concern as he sat. Mom, Lisa said you've been acting paranoid, making accusations. Just listen, Marie interrupted gently, pressing play on the recording device. Lisa's voice filled the room. Fine. You want the truth? Yes, I've been adding things to your food. Nothing lethal, just enough to make you sick. Jordan's face went pale as the recording continued. He listened in stunned silence to his wife's cold confession, her threats, her complete lack of remorse. By the time Marie stopped the recording, his hands were shaking. This can't be real, he whispered. Marie opened her symptom diary. I've documented everything, baby. Every meal, Every symptom, every incident. The way I get sick only after eating her cooking. How the symptoms stopped when I brought my own food. But why? Jordan's voice cracked. Why would she do this? She was jealous, baby. Jealous of our relationship, of my place in your life. Marie's heart broke, seeing her son's pain. She saw me as competition instead of family. Jordan stood up abruptly, pacing the room. All those times you were sick, when you could barely drive home, when we thought it might be food allergies. His voice rose with each word. She was poisoning you? My wife was poisoning my mother. I confronted her, hoping she'd show remorse, agree to get help. Marie sighed. Instead, she threatened me, said you'd never believe me over her. Jordan stopped pacing, his face a mask of fury and pain. I need to hear her say it. Need to look her in the eye when she tries to deny this. Baby. No, Mom. I need to do this now. He was already pulling out his phone. Lisa, come to Mom's house. Now. No excuses. His voice was cold in a way Marie had never heard before. The 20 minutes they waited for Lisa felt like hours. Jordan sat rigid on the couch, replaying the recording twice more, each time his expression growing darker. When Lisa's SUV finally pulled up, Marie could see her daughter-in-law checking her makeup one last time, always conscious of appearances. Lisa burst through the door with practiced concern. Jordan, honey, what's wrong? Why are you at Marie's? I've been so worried about her mental state lately. Sit down. Jordan's voice cut through her performance. Mom, play the recording. Lisa's face went through a series of expressions as her own voice filled the room. Confidence, shock, fear, and finally, cold anger. When it finished, she laughed nervously. Oh, honestly, Jordan, that could be doctored. Marie's obviously trying to drive a wedge between us. Stop. Jordan held up Marie's symptom diary. I've read every page. Every time you made my mother sick. Every time you watched her suffer and pretended to care. Every time you put something in her food and smiled while she could barely stand. Jordan, baby, you can't possibly believe. I said stop. Jordan's voice shook with rage. You admitted it on tape, Lisa. You threatened my mother. You deliberately poisoned her because you were jealous. Lisa's sweet facade cracked. She was suffocating us. Always there, always interfering, acting like she knew better than me about everything. So you try to poison her? Jordan stood up, towering over his wife. The mother of your children's father? The woman who welcomed you into our family. She never welcomed me. Lisa screamed, her composure finally shattering. She just pretended, always watching, judging, making me feel like I wasn't good enough for her precious son. Marie started to speak, but Jordan held up his hand. Mom never did any of those things. This was all in your head. And instead of talking to me about it, instead of getting help, you decided to slowly poison my mother. It wasn't poison, Lisa protested weakly. Just things to make her uncomfortable, to make her visit less. Things that made her so sick she could barely drive. Things that made her heart race and her head spin. Jordan's voice was deadly quiet. What if she'd had an accident driving home? What if she'd fallen? What else were you planning to put in her food? Lisa's face hardened. Everything was fine until she started getting suspicious. If she just stayed away like she was supposed to. Jordan laughed bitterly. She's my mother, Lisa, the grandmother of our children. What were you thinking? I was thinking about protecting our family. By poisoning part of our family? Jordan shook his head in disgust. Pack a bag when you get home. I want you out of the house tonight. Lisa's mouth fell open. What? You can't be serious. I've never been more serious. Jordan's voice was ice. I want you out. I'll have my lawyer contact you about separation papers. You're choosing her over me? Your own wife. I'm choosing not to stay married to someone who would deliberately harm my mother. Someone who shows no remorse for what they've done. Jordan turned away from her. What else are you capable of? What if the kids did something to make you jealous? Would you poison them too? Lisa recoiled as if slapped. I would never hurt the children. You hurt their grandmother. You watched her suffer and smiled. How can I ever trust you again? Jordan's voice broke. How can I leave my children with someone capable of that? Marie watched as the reality of what she'd done finally seemed to hit Lisa. Her daughter-in-law sank into a chair, her perfect makeup streaked with tears. Jordan, please, she whispered. We can work this out. I'll get counseling. I'll apologize. I'll do anything. It's too late. Jordan turned to his mother. Mom, I am so sorry. I should have seen it. Should have realized. No, baby. Marie took his hand. Lisa hit it well. She made sure I thought I was imagining things for a long time. Lisa stood up suddenly, her face contorted with rage. This is exactly what you wanted, isn't it, Marie? To turn my husband against me? To destroy my marriage? No, Lisa, Marie said quietly. You did that all on your own. I won't let you take my children, Lisa snarled. I'll fight you both. I'll tell everyone how you're trying to destroy our family. The only one destroying this family is you, Jordan interrupted. And you won't be taking the children anywhere. Not until you get professional help and prove you're not a danger to them. A danger? I'm their mother, and I'm their father. And right now, I don't trust you with them. Jordan's voice was final. Go home. Pack your things. My lawyer will contact you. Lisa stared at them both, mascara running down her cheeks. For a moment, Marie thought she saw genuine pain in her daughter-in-law's eyes. But then it was replaced by that same cold calculation she'd seen during their confrontation. You'll regret this, Lisa said quietly. Both of you. She turned and walked out, her heels clicking on the hardwood floor. After she left, Jordan collapsed onto the couch, his head in his hands. How did I not see it? How did I let her do this to you? Marie sat beside him, pulling him close like she used to when he was little. Baby, she fooled everyone. She was very good at hiding who she really was. The kids. Jordan looked up, his eyes red. How do I tell them? How do I explain that their mother? We'll figure it out together, Marie assured him. One day at a time. Jordan picked up Marie's symptom diary, flipping through the pages of documented incidents. I keep thinking about all these times you were sick. All the times I watched you suffer and did nothing. You didn't know, baby. But when you found out the truth, you did the right thing. Marie squeezed his hand. That's what matters. Jordan's phone buzzed repeatedly, messages from Lisa. He turned it off without reading them. I need to get home, get the kids from the sitter before Lisa does. I don't want them there when she's packing. Marie nodded. Do you want them to stay here tonight? Would you mind? Just until I can figure out what to tell them. Of course not, baby. They're always welcome here. You all are. Jordan stood, looking more tired than Marie had ever seen him. I'll go get them now. And Mom? He turned to her. I'm so sorry, but thank you for being brave enough to tell me the truth. After Jordan left, Marie sat alone in her living room, looking at the family photos on her walls. So many happy memories, now tainted by the knowledge of what Lisa had been doing. But as she thought about Jordan's reaction, his immediate choice to protect his family, his strength in confronting Lisa, she felt a surge of pride. Her phone buzzed with a final text from Lisa. This isn't over. You've made a huge mistake. Marie didn't respond. Instead, she went to prepare the guest rooms for her grandchildren. There would be hard days ahead, difficult conversations, and legal battles to face. But for now, she could focus on what mattered most, helping her family heal from this betrayal. Looking at her symptom diary one last time, Marie closed it firmly. She wouldn't need it anymore. The truth was out, and while it had shattered their family's perfect facade, it had also freed them from something far more toxic than whatever Lisa had been putting in her food. Sometimes, she thought, a family had to break apart to truly heal. 2 months after the confrontation, Marie sat on her back porch watching Marcus and Lily play in the yard. The summer flowers were in full bloom, their sweet scent carrying on the warm breeze. The children's laughter, once rare in the tense atmosphere of recent months, now filled the air freely. Jordan emerged from the house, carrying 3 glasses of lemonade on a tray. He'd been staying at Marie's house with the kids since the separation, finding comfort in the familiar surroundings of his childhood home. The lawyer called, he said quietly, setting down the tray. Lisa's contesting the separation terms. Marie watched her grandchildren chase butterflies, their faces carefree despite the turmoil of recent weeks. What does she want? Joint custody, no supervision requirements. Jordan's voice was tight, and she wants to try couples counseling again. Says she's changed, that she understands what she did wrong. And what do you think, baby? Jordan sighed, running a hand through his hair. a gesture so like his late father that it made Marie's heart ache. I think some things can't be fixed with counseling, Mom. How can I ever trust her again? How can I look at her without seeing what she did to you? The screen door creaked open as Marcus ran up, slightly out of breath. Dad, look what we found. He held up a colorful butterfly wing, his eyes bright with excitement. Jordan's face softened as he examined his son's treasure. That's beautiful, buddy. Why don't we get a special box to keep it in? After Marcus ran back to join his sister, Jordan turned to Marie. The kids miss her. Lily cries for her at night sometimes. It breaks my heart, but... He shook his head. I keep thinking about what you went through. What if she ever got that angry with them? What if they did something to make her feel threatened? You're doing the right thing, Marie assured him. Sometimes being a good parent means making hard decisions to keep your children safe. Inside, Marie's phone buzzed with a text. She checked it quickly. Another message from Lisa. I'm seeing a therapist now. I'm getting help. Please, talk to Jordan. Tell him I've changed. Marie showed the message to Jordan, who laughed bitterly. Now she wants help? After everything she did? After watching you suffer for months and threatening you when you confronted her? People can change, Marie said carefully. But that doesn't mean we have to risk our safety while they do it. The next day, Jordan met with Lisa and their lawyers to discuss custody arrangements. He came home looking exhausted but determined. She broke down crying in the meeting. He told Marie as they prepared dinner. Said she never meant to hurt anyone, that she was just scared of losing me. Begged me to try counseling one more time. What did you say? I told her that trust, once broken, is like a shattered mirror. You can try to piece it back together, but you'll always see the cracks. Jordan chopped vegetables with more force than necessary. I told her I'd consider joint custody once she completed a full year of therapy and anger management classes, and that visits with the kids would be supervised until then. Marie nodded, proud of her son's strength. How did she take that? About as well as you'd expect. Accused me of being cruel, of punishing her unfairly. He set down the knife. But then something changed. It was like she finally realized what she'd done, what she'd lost. She agreed to the terms. Over the following weeks, a new routine emerged. The kids stayed with Jordan at Marie's house during the week, visiting Lisa on weekends under the supervision of a court-appointed monitor. Marie threw herself into being there for all of them, cooking favorite meals, helping with homework, providing a shoulder to cry on when needed. One evening, as they sat doing art projects at the kitchen table, Lily looked up at Marie with serious eyes. Grandma, is Mommy sick? Marie exchanged a glance with Jordan before answering carefully. Your mommy is working on feeling better, sweet pea. Sometimes grown-ups need help to make better choices. Is that why we can't live with her right now? Jordan pulled his daughter onto his lap. Yes, honey. Mommy needs time to work on herself. And while she does that, we're going to stay here with Grandma where it's peaceful and safe. I like it here, Marcus chimed in, not looking up from his drawing. Grandma makes better food anyway. The innocent comment made them all freeze for a moment before Marie managed a warm smile. That's because everything tastes better when we cook it together with love. Later that night, after the kids were asleep, Jordan found Marie in the kitchen, baking cookies for the children's lunchboxes. You know what Marcus said got me thinking, he admitted, stealing a warm cookie. All those times Lisa insisted on cooking, on serving everything herself. How did I not see it? She was careful, baby, and you wanted to believe the best about her. That's not a flaw. It's one of your finest qualities. Marie patted his cheek. You just need to balance it with wisdom. The next day brought another development. Lisa's lawyer called to say she'd enrolled in intensive therapy and anger management classes, accepting that the separation was necessary for everyone's healing. She asked if he would consider having coffee with her, Jordan told Marie. To hear her apology in person, Marie considered it, remembering the cold calculation in Lisa's eyes during their confrontation. Maybe someday, she said finally, when she's done more work on herself. For now, let's focus on the children. And they did. Slowly, day by day, the family found its new rhythm. Jordan started looking for a house nearby, wanting to maintain the close connection they'd rebuilt while giving the kids their own space again. Marie's kitchen once again became the heart of their family life, filled with laughter and the smell of home-cooked meals that brought comfort instead of fear. Lisa, to everyone's surprise, stuck to her therapy commitments. Her supervised visits with the children became less tense, and she even started acknowledging her past behavior in therapy sessions. The therapist says she's doing the work, Jordan told Marie one evening, really confronting her jealousy and control issues. But the trust is still broken, Marie finished. Yeah. Jordan stared into his coffee. I don't think I can ever go back to her, Mom. Even if she changes completely, I'll always remember what she did to you. What she could have done to the kids if we hadn't caught her. Marie squeezed his hand. You don't have to go back, baby. Sometimes love means knowing when to walk away. 6 months after the separation, they settled into a new co-parenting arrangement. Lisa had completed half her therapy requirements and showed genuine progress. The kids spent alternate weekends with her, now without supervision, though Jordan still prepared their meals in advance. I know it's probably unnecessary now, he admitted to Marie, but I can't take that risk again. Not with their safety. Marie understood. She'd finally stopped checking her food obsessively, stopped feeling anxious at family meals. But some scars ran deep. On a warm Sunday evening, as the family gathered for their weekly dinner, a tradition they'd reclaimed and made their own again, Marie looked around her table with gratitude. Jordan, laughing as he helped Lily cut her chicken. Marcus, proudly showing off his latest school artwork. The empty chair where Lisa used to sit no longer felt like a wound, but like a reminder that sometimes losing something toxic made room for something healing to grow. Grandma, Lily called, breaking into her thoughts. Can we make your special cookies for the school bake sale? Of course, Sweet Pea. We'll make them together. Jordan caught her eye across the table and smiled. A real smile, free from the shadows that had haunted him in recent months. They'd been through hell together, but they'd emerged stronger, wiser, and more appreciative of the simple joy of sharing a meal without fear. Later that night, as Marie prepared for bed, she found herself looking at the family photos on her dresser. The old ones of Jordan as a child, the newer ones with the grandchildren, and yes, even the ones with Lisa. She didn't take them down anymore. They were part of their story, a reminder of what they'd overcome. Her phone buzzed with a final text for the day, from Jordan. Thanks for everything, Mom. For being brave enough to tell the truth, and strong enough to help us all heal from it. Love you. Marie smiled, thinking of how far they'd come. The poison that had threatened to destroy their family had instead revealed its strongest bonds. They'd lost something in the process. Innocence, trust, a certain kind of happiness. But they'd gained something too. Wisdom, strength, and a deeper appreciation for the love that had seen them through. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. Lisa would continue her journey toward healing. The children would have more questions, and Jordan would keep navigating his path as a single father. But tonight, in this moment, Marie felt at peace. They were safe. They were together. They were healing. And sometimes, she thought as she drifted off to sleep, that was the greatest victory of all. What would you do if you discovered someone you trusted was willing to hurt those closest to you? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more powerful stories about courage, loyalty, and standing up for what's right. Together, let's keep sharing stories that remind us of the strength it takes to protect the ones we love.